Hi, chickadees. So, this one right here, someone has a good sense of humor, able to keep my attention during conversations. Already with the able to keep my attention, why do I have to work so hard to keep your attention? Do you have some sort of problem with focusing? This is the kind of language I hear at school, and it just reminds me of a type of language that is used by men who are not very mature, and they expect the woman to do all of the work to kind of like entertain them. I've had that issue myself because I am kind of a funny person. And I do things that are funny and I say things that are witty and funny. And you can say it's part of my Sagittarius personality. It's just part of me. That's great. But those times when I am tired or when I am just quiet and contemplative, that's when it's like, oh, well, you're not holding my attention. Your job is to entertain me. And I get bored easily. Grown people who say that they get bored, hmm, red flag. That plus the braids, that would be a swipe left for me. So this one, I just wanted to draw attention to some things that are on dating profiles. This is Bumble. They seem innocuous, but they may not be as harmless as they seem. So these are buzzwords that people use to show what it is they're looking for with you without really saying it outright. Bumble right here kind of makes it very easy because these are just things you have to click. You don't really even have to write it out or spell it out. So the first thing is sex positivity. Great, we're positive about sex. Usually it just means that they're interested in a hookup, one night stand, just friends with benefits, and that's what they want to look for. This man doesn't say too much about himself. He just clucks some of those, but then he has this, I don't know, cap that is one of my pet peeves. Men, especially grown, older men with these gigantic hats on, it's just almost seems like a clown hat to me at this point. At this age, you should know what you're looking for. He says he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know yet. And you should know how to present yourself without wearing your clown attire. That is definitely a swipe left for me. So I just wanted to say, as a disclaimer or a caveat, is that, it's all about freedom of choice. If this is something that you want to do, then do it. However, what I have a problem with is people who trick you into doing something that you may not want to do. If this is something you consent to do, if this is the kind of relationship that you want, then by all means do it. But if it's not, it should be explained, well, this is what I want and this is not what you want, so we're not compatible. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this one. I am not in favor of blurry pictures, pictures that aren't clear, especially as your first picture. I have no idea what's going on. You dropped your phone, it happens, or whatever, or somebody took the picture and it was kind of blurry. Why are you using that as your first picture? So all I know is that you and your dog are involved in some kind of romantic adventure, and that's great, but it's just something that I wouldn't be interested in. So that would be a swipe left for me. So this one, apparently it's supposed to be a joke. He says, my toxic trait is swiping right, then never responding to exert dominance. Now that's kind of funny, kind of witty. If I were needing someone to help me write a kind of sassy, witty, romantic comedy, maybe this guy might be the one. So I can see he means it as a joke, but a lot of times when we use humor, there's truth in the joke, there's truth in the humor. So this is actually what people do. And these are the kind of games that men and women play. But to exert dominance like that, that's definitely a male characteristic. And even though it's just playful, just something to grab your attention, it would still be a swipe left for me. This one is just another case of you're posing with the love of your life in the picture on a dating app. I don't know which one is actually the person. I know it's the man in this case, but I'm just saying if you're in love with each other so much that you even have to do your dating profiles together, why don't you consider getting with one another? All right, so this one, he says he's 6'7". Wow, tall with athletic build. He must be like super tall, since being tall seems to be like one of the major criteria for who you want to spend the rest of your life with. So that's great. He's always working out and uplifting others. Great communicator. Now, this is when he starts talking about what he wants in another person. He says, I love affectionate women with curves, nice rumps, da da da. Now, real woman only, no TS, and I think that stands for transsexuals, I believe. All right, so he's put a lot in here. He's said that he himself is this Adonis, but when it comes to a woman, he's looking for someone who is affectionate. Now, that's one of those other buzzwords That means that they want someone who is willing to have sex with them or do types of sexual things with them. Affection, of course, there's nothing wrong with being affectionate, and it just means different things to different people. I can say without cringe that, I'm affectionate to my own daughter. I'm affectionate to my mother. But in this case, and on these dating apps, they're talking about sex. Don't get it confused. And they're talking about a kind of constant, maybe PDA or doing things in the bedroom that you may or may not want to do. It just depends on you. Now, he goes further to say curves. Curves mean that he wants someone with boobs and ass. And he says nice rump specifically because he's looking for someone with the ass part. All right. And just in case, it wants to make sure that you know that no one that he's looking for can be trans. Now, the funny thing about this is that I actually know this person. We never actually dated, but yeah. And so he actually wanted me to come up and do something. And this was before I understood that most of the Detroit males, for some reason, they're interested in you, but they want you as a woman to chase after them, which is something I just blew my mind. Like, I'm just not quite sure how you expect to get the object of your desire if you're making her run. And so that was something that I had to learn. So, once again, on this part of we'll get along if you're a good communicator, that's fine. Affectionate one more time and believe in reciprocity. And that's another one of those common words that are fun. Reciprocity. What could be wrong with saying that you want someone to believe in reciprocity? But it's a buzz term that I have learned specifically from men from Detroit. When they say that, they mean that if I took you out for dinner, you need to be able to take me out for dinner. If I give you money for your salon, then you need to give me money for my nail appointment. And it just kind of negates the point of being in a relationship with a man if you're going to have to be doing everything like you did when you were single. He's not showing you how much better it is with him. He's not allowing you to relax so that maybe your more playful, fun personality can come out. It's just basically one more day with one more person. And so, as much as the concept of being reciprocal is fine, in actuality, in dating, it just means someone who wants to be lazy and wants to kind of watch you dance. The whole profile is giving me the impression of someone who just kind of, let me see what she's going to do for me, and I'm just not that type of person. I don't think people should play games too much. I like to be genuine, but also just the fact that I've never liked those type of relationships with a man who's just going to make you run or want to just see you dance or just want to be throwing out tests to you. I've heard of men who like to test you. They'll pretend that they don't have any money or that they're not going to pay for the date, and then they'll ask you to pay for it, and that's supposed to be some kind of test. And I see so many women online saying, well, you know what, I passed the test, or can I pass the test? I see it with Muslims, I see it with non-Muslims, and it's kind of ridiculous with Muslims because it's more spelled out, it's more plain to say, it's more accepted to say, well, a man should protect and maintain a woman even in 2024. And say, well, what would happen if something happened to me and I wasn't able to provide? You've never been able to provide. Your whole life is a game. You've never done anything. And now you just want to add more things that would make me understand that life with you would be very hard, would always be some kind of struggle, would always be some kind of up and down. And the fact that you're just not genuine is a problem. So, anyway, that was a long rant to say that the reciprocity, the affectionate, those are all kind of keywords, fine words on their own, but just in this context, you have to watch out for what the man is really trying to say. And then, of course, he wants to make sure that you have a nice rump. So he is really concentrating on the physical, and that's what's going to keep him maybe slightly engaged with you for a little bit before he gets bored and decides to find somebody else with a nicer rump. So this one, like I said, we need to see your face if we're actually going to find out if we want to go out with you. So I'm just not in favor of naked pictures in hotel rooms. And then he says, don't judge me. Okay. So I just like a more clear picture for you, especially for your initial shot, so that we can see who you are. So this one, we should be used to these buzzwords again. So this buzz term right here, casual fun. He's looking for casual fun and conversation. You can go to Dave and Buster on the weekend and get casual fun and conversation. You can go anywhere and sit around with your friends and get casual fun and conversation. What he's talking about with casual fun is that he doesn't want to have any of the complications of respecting the other person as a human being and having a relationship where you enjoy each other's company, you understand things about them, you enjoy their personality, you know more things about them besides how big their rump is. So he says he's an open book. I've learned, and this is just me, no scientific proof for this. I've learned that when it says open book, that they're usually kind of a closed book. It's weird. Da da da. He does all this stuff. That's great. He